right now.
It's time.
I tell you what, she picked a good game to go to yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Did you
was
see
it
the
the Seahawks game yesterday?
Seahawks game? Oh my God.
Amazing.
If anyone saw it, that last pass was extraordinary. I mean, the fact that he had the wherewithal to keep his toes in and.
Okay, so I need to watch it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
she
what a
did.
game.
Amazing
I
game.
was like, I don't know why, but in the third quarter, I was like, Seahawks are gonna win. For some reason, I had this feeling.
That's the only time I go for the Seahawks. Is yesterday.
The one that was gonna be negative Nancy.
That's the only time I was going for the Seahawks. I'm a Niners fan.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
my brother-in-law is good, and my sister are all 49ers. So do we not have
The Cats.
time on?
No, I'll text Michael. I don't know.
Yeah, see if they're gonna be on. Are we on right now? Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, everyone.
Got
Good morning.
Stella, sup, dudes? I'm
gonna start with just.
Hello. Miss you.
Hi. I'm just gonna start with,
There you are.
just update in the next couple of weeks. We are closed the 25th and 26th here. So obviously we won't have the KW Roundup on the 26th. On the 2nd, we will not either. We're closed on the 1st, but I know everyone's kind of getting back and that's everything on the.
Or I are closing on the 2 days for both holidays as well.
Okay, so the region and KWS, maybe we will too, who knows? But we will be back to the KW Roundup on the 9th. So I just wanted to let you know that,
We'll be closed on the 2nd as well.
and we'll be closed on the 2nd.
Well, the
So-
office isn't closed. I didn't realize we weren't doing the roundup thing, but I'll
Okay.
put that.
Okay, thank you.
The office is closed on the 2nd.
Oh, the office is closed on the 2nd.
Okay,
Okay, now confirmation.
we will
Are they-
update the things.
Is Mike on? So we're starting.
Oh,
So we'll end with prime lending then today, but we are.
Yes.
Oh,
We're-
there he is.
Sup,
You're
dudes?
on.
Hey, sorry, running a little late.
That's okay. I'll leave it to you.
Okay, so just kind of touch base on some market updates. So I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard that interest rates have dropped about a point over the course of the last month, which has been great news. The one thing I would caution your buyers to do is not, or even agents or anybody in general, is to not necessarily say that they've done that, because in some cases, or a lot of cases actually, depending on the product, rates are still in the mid to high sevens, depending on credit score and such. So while the average 30-year for perfect credit and so on has dropped into those mid sixes and such, there are quite a few products that are still, definitely higher up. So just be, cautious. And I would probably phrase it more in the lines of, yeah, some interest rates have dropped or interest rates have trended downward. Make sure you check in with your lender to get an updated pre-approval to see how much it's actually affected you. That way they're not saying, well, you told me it dropped a full percent and it's only a 0.25% difference. So just protect yourself that way. Let's see, moving into, I just actually closed a bridge loan product that I think I mentioned a few weeks ago, but I wanted to touch base on it again. So this is a pretty cool product, and basically it allowed these buyers to take advantage of the equity that they had in their condo and purchase another condo in the same town without selling the prior condo. And they owned that condo free and clear. They could go up to 75% of the value on the bridge loan. And basically a bridge loan is like a temporary loan on the equity that you can then use that cash to put as a down payment on the new property. So they were able to take that property and utilize the equity, purchase the new one, and there's no payments on the bridge portion. It's an interest only, daily interest. And the only stipulation is that the home has to have a listing agreement signed on it at 3 weeks, within 3 weeks of mutual on the new property. And then you have to sell it within 6 months. Once you sell it if you don't sell it within 6 months, that bridge loan then becomes due and you have to pay the entire thing back. So it's only a 6-month balloon basically. So something to consider. if you have clients that want to utilize their equity but don't want to be contingent, we close this in 30 days. There is an appraisal that's required on both the home that they're vacating and the home that they're purchasing. We have some really good appraisal contacts, so it's a little different, but it's a really good product for people that don't necessarily want to go and get HELOCs. And the other problem with HELOCs that I've come into is that we do have one product that allows you to get one on an investment property, but overall, most HELOCs are for primary residences only. That's otherwise it can be pretty challenging to get one for an investment property. But where the bridge loan comes in is it allows the buyer to take advantage of that equity without having to go through the process of trying to get a HELOC, because the other part of the HELOC problem is that it's for primary. And if you tell the bank, oh yeah, we're purchasing another property, usually they're going to say, no, we're not going to do it. Or even if you say it's for a second home, anytime you mention purchasing another property with HELOC money, sometimes banks can get pretty stickler about it and they don't like that. So that's where the bridge comes in. It allows people to kind of avoid all that, and you can close in 30 days. So if you have sellers that are just not, they're still wanting to make offers, but their home maybe isn't ready to sell yet, let us know, because it's a really cool program and the closing dates are no different than anything else. So that's all I've got today. Any questions on that?
Questions? Anybody in Zoom land? No, crickets, holiday crickets. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're
Merry
welcome,
Christmas.
guys. Merry Christmas.
I'm making a box.
What did you call
Okay,
it? My
We are extremely fortunate to have Signe Groen here today. She's going to be talking about listings. So it's kind of a preview of what's going to be coming for our masterminds next year. We're really excited about it. So, Signe?
Hello. What a beautiful large audience.
I love it. That shows your dedication that you're here on the way to the holiday. So yeah, just a really just kind of quick little teaser. I want to do maybe about 20 minutes, and then would love to do more of a deep dive into listing best practices. All of you guys know, I'm sure that I'm with 72 Sold, and there's a very specific home selling program that Home 72 Sold. I do like 4 hours of training on it every single week to stay up to date on it and with shifting market trends and everything. So I would love to pass on that knowledge for you guys, you know, a little bit here and there with whatever, you know, you'd like to take from that program to work into your own listing best practices. So I thought a good way to kind of start into that, something that can be wrapped up in 20 minutes, is the LWI formula. So that is likable, that you're working, and that you're informing. So that's what we're always trying to do with our clients, buyers and sellers. In the context of listings, I mean, the liking part is pretty similar with both your buyer and your listing clients. But, you know, be interested in their personal, you know, interests, their activities. Are they into specific sports teams, you know, family? What's that one acronym we always use? Ford, yeah, like the Ford stuff, the basic Ford stuff that KW teaches: family, occupation, recreation, dreams, all of that. I like to have a little bit of humor, you know, in my listing presentations, make it a little bit more fun than just, you know, really cut and dry, you know, that sort of thing. And part of that too is gifts. So that's part of the 72 Sold program, is a listing gift when you show up to the house. Hey, I just wanted to thank you for, you know, inviting me into your home, you know, and giving me this opportunity to interview for the job of your listing agent. And it's just something little. I've been experimenting with like what works. And right now I've been doing little pots of mustard and saying, you know, I grew up in Leavenworth, so, you know, this is just a little bit of mustard. I like to use it in cooking. You know, I mix it with some mayonnaise, put it over roast Brussels sprouts. Oh, it's so tasty. A little bit of my Leavenworth heritage. Just a little thank you to you for, you know, considering me for your listing agent. So that's the L section. Everybody remember what they stand for? Like, working, inform. So that's that one. You know, you can really do a deep dive into that on, you know, how to just think about I want to make sure my client likes me, because people trust people that they like and that are working hard for them. So you want to be likable to your clients, and that does take some intentionality sometimes. I know for me, I could get just real like focused on, hey, let's get to the nitty gritty, like let's solve your problem, and skip some of that personal stuff. So for me, it's really important to have that reminder of, let's talk about how your grandkids are doing. And you were sick last week, right? Are you doing better? Are you feeling better? Sometimes like my high D will just go like, no, let's talk listing price, So the working part, so much of what we do, a client is never going to see. They don't know that. And if they don't know about it, they can't appreciate it. So one thing we hear a lot about complaints just as real estate as a whole is my agent, like I never hear from my agent. It's hard to get a hold of my agent, that kind of thing. So it's good to, especially for a listing, like at least every other day, say something to your client in the way that they prefer to be communicated with it. If that's text, a lot of my younger clients just want to text like, hey, this new comp just came on the market, or, I got this showing feedback from this person, whatever it is. When you're leading up to a listing, hey, I've been in contact, I've got the plumber, scheduled to come out. This is the day that the photos are. Just be in contact, just consistently about what you're doing to help them sell their home, or buy their home if they're, anyway. So just show them how you're working, show them what you're doing for it. And then the inform part, this is where I wanted to spend the most time today. Specifically this. So when you're getting ready for a listing presentation, we all know that pricing it is one of the very, very most important things. If you price a home wrong, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. It's going to wait around, no matter how good you are at being likable to your client, no matter how hard you're working. If you got that price wrong, it ain't selling, right? So being really, really well informed about your property, about the comps. And one thing, that I've seen working in the Seattle market a lot, and that 72 Sold teaches, is call your competition, call those agents. So if I have a listing, it's 3-bed, 2-bath, and I've got a few that are currently active that are going to be the ones my buyers for this house are going to be looking at, I'm calling them. Hey, Julie, I noticed that you've had this home on the market for 30 days. What has your activity been like? Okay, you got 5 showings that first week, and then 2 the second, 1 and 1, and you guys are getting ready to do a price drop. That's really important knowledge for me to show my client with that pricing conversation, right? So if they're in their mind looking at that listing, be like, well, they're at $599. I think my house is better. I want to be at $599. And I can say, you know what, Melody, you're totally right. Your house is better than that. They're about to do a $50,000 price reduction because they haven't had showings in 2 weeks. That is some really good, details to show them that you are, on top of it. So the pendings too. So call the pending ones. Hey, congrats on your pending sale. It's really similar to one that I have coming up, and feel free to share that with agents. We are cooperative. We'll do the best we can to help each other, even from other offices, whatever, I feel, you don't know until you ask. Like, some people aren't going to be willing to, but I've honestly never had that. I've never picked up the phone and called somebody and they said like, I'm not helping you, so just make the call, ask the questions. The pending ones, okay, so how much activity did you have? Did you guys, I see you did a price reduction. Did that help you get the more showings? What can you tell me about the deal you have under contract? Did the seller have to have some concessions? What's the closing date? Is it cash? Is it financing? So then again, when I'm talking to my seller, Melody, okay, so these ones, they're pretty similar to your home. This one, they priced really competitively right off the bat, and they got 2 competing offers, and they're actually above asking price, with no seller concession. These guys, they ended up having to do a price reduction, blah, 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 and they're closing in 30 days with a financed offer with 30% down. You can have some of those really detailed things to help the seller understand what their process is going to look like, just with calling those other agents for similar listings. So if you get anything from this conversation, if you're not already doing that, that's the one thing that I would add, that I would have added earlier in my career. I just found out I can call the other listing agents for the competitive listings. That's a really good idea. I found out about that this year, and I'm like, genius. It has made such a big difference in my conversations with sellers, because they come back and this house is, more expensive than mine, and I want to go above it. they're not selling, buddy. Let me tell you about all of their showings they've had, and they're gonna have the same buyers. And if we, price where the buyers aren't interested, there goes our whole buyer pool, and then we're gonna be sitting on market. Yeah. Did you have a question, Melody?
No, I was just, I
Mm,
haven't actually called
Yeah.
them. I've had people call me. I've had other agents call me. It just didn't click in my head like
That you can do
that,
that.
that I
Yeah.
should do
So I'm
that.
giving you all permission. Call those other agents. Or friend me, you can invite them sometimes.
I dive deep and I look at
Right now,
the,
all this, there's not that many listings, so I went on like expired and canceled. And I seen a couple houses there that didn't sell, and I started calling them up, and I was like, are you guys still interested in selling? And a couple people told me, yeah, so I mean, just dig around.
Yeah, dig around, yeah.
yeah, if you ask the questions and they don't answer that you haven't lost anything,
No,
and
exactly.
yeah. So diving deeper, I look at the county
Mhm.
as well, and I look at how long has it been online, I look at the history, and I have
Yeah.
that printed out.
Totally, and all of that's
Listing.
really good, and then if you add the extra spice of what that agent is telling you about, because what you can't see online is how many showings they've had, how, motivated that seller is,
Such a good.
whether they're getting ready to do a price reduction, all of that. If you're looking at a pending, you don't know what price it's gonna go at, but if the listing agent is feeling pretty confident at that point, oh yeah, we're through appraisal, yeah, I don't mind telling you the price is this, and we had seller concession this, that just will really help you set expectations to the seller. And then when they get offers that they're, in this market, a lot of sellers are disappointed in the offers they're getting. That helps you to help them make the best decision, because sometimes that offer is what's best for them, and they're just having a hard time wrapping their mind around it because, of the shift, you got so much last year, and now like, hey, sorry, Melody, this is the best offer. But you can feel confident in knowing that, whereas if you don't have that background knowledge, you might, feel a little uncertain. So having as much information as you can and showing that to your seller, because that's another big important part of that trust. If I'm asking you to trust me, you need to know that I'm informed and that I'm not just pulling this idea out of my butt. Like, I think you should take this for offer because then my job's over and I gotta take it and I'm on to the next one, like that's not what we want to do. We want to say, I think if with your goals of wanting to get sold for the most money and the easiest transaction, this is it. It's in hand, I've already talked to the buyer's agent and they have a little bit of wiggle room in their, inspection date. They're willing to come to shorten that, and they're willing to come up a little bit in price. So that's what I think we should offer at. So having that, conviction about what is best for them, that's part of what sellers are looking for is your advice. They're not looking for you to just like outline stuff and, okay, what do you want to do, Melody? What do you want me to do? How do you want me to respond back?
You present as an expert.
Exactly, yeah, and with an opinion about, with my knowledge of what your goals are, this is how I recommend that you respond. What do you think about that? Let's have a conversation,
And to add on to that, so it's kind of surprising, like how much agents will tell you if
Yeah.
they're in through through the inspection period.
Mhm.
I had one that the best comp I called and she's like, well, we had a low appraisal of like 25,000 and we negotiated. And I mean, that was like huge info that he didn't get from anyone else. Cause yeah, you don't know if there's no like guide to exactly how you
Yep.
do real estate. You just
Yep.
have to learn this from Sydney's. That you can call people.
Yeah,
So it's big.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much you can do that you just kind of don't realize, like that's a conversation too. So moving on from this, any questions on the LWI kind of general idea? I think we have a little bit more time, right? I'm kind of a
Any
brevity
Zoom?
talker. I'm the opposite of Russ. I'm like,
Zoom questions?
What he can
I
say
am
in
too.
10 minutes, I say in 1 minute. But to expand a little bit on that conversation. So as a listing agent, once you get an offer, 72 Sold calls it counter offer intelligence. So I get an offer from Seth and I'm looking it over. Before I even call the sellers to tell them that I have an offer, I'm calling Seth. Seth, thanks for the offer. I got it. I am so excited to have this offer from you. But also we've only been on the market 2 days or, like whatever, I'm going to have some kind of thing depending on the situation that's going to set me up to say, I really want to make this work with you, Seth, but I don't think my sellers are going to go for it as is. So where do you have room? Do you think guys can come up in price a little bit? Do you think you can shorten inspection? Do you think you can come up with, appraisal waiver? what can you do to make this better for my sellers? Because I really want to make this work with you. Your buyers seem like the perfect fit for this home. You know, I've always wanted to do a deal with you personally. I've seen your name on a lot of stuff. Like, I want to work with you. Let's make this happen. And asking that in a bunch of different ways. The buyer's agent will probably overshare what, you know, because they've had that conversation with their buyers most of the time, like that they're willing to go up to this, but let's put in our offer at this. And if I can, you know, ask that question a bunch of different ways from the buyer's agent, they'll often tell me, you know, something that then I can come back to my sellers. So I got my offer, called Seth right away to get the down low, the counter offer intelligent. Now I'm calling Ashley, my seller. Hey, we got this offer. It's okay. It's pretty good. You know, there's some good things, some bad things, you know, when can you meet? I want to sit down with you face to face and go over this. I've already talked to the buyer's agent about it and have a plan. So when you want to meet and let's talk about this. So he said that he'd be willing to, you know, increase price here and decrease, you know, inspection date here. That's what I recommend that we counter offer at. They said that's, you know, kind of as high as they feel comfortable going. What do you think?
Yep.
So again, I'm coming to the seller super well prepared, like anytime I have anything to talk to them about. And if I don't, you know, like I'm kind of listening right now, let's just sit and have like one showing every 2 weeks. You know, I'm still getting a hold of that seller and telling him, hey, this new comp just came up. You know, I know you're thinking about turning this into a rental if, you know, you can't get it sold for the price. So here's another rental comp. This is what interest rates are doing. And that's how, you know, projections. So I'm talking to my sellers, even when I don't have good news for them, you know, even if it's really bad, showing feedback. I'm telling my seller about it. So just being in contact a lot and being really informed every time you talk to them.
A little tip on asking agents for asking them questions. There's one agent at Nick McLean, it works every single time. So I'll ask a question and then just pause for like a little longer than feels comomfortable. And they get a little nervous and then they'll just spill all of the details. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Quiet, they can't stand that quiet.
No, it's awkward. You just have to like a little awkward, then it works out. So,
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, that's kind of a little teaser for, we'll do a deep dive listing mastermind for, you know, best practices. And again, it's best practices for, you know, take what, you know, makes sense to you and your business and work it in. This is what works for me and 72 sold style and all of that. So
Anybody have any questions?
This is great info.
yeah.
I love it. What a phenomenal, what a phenomenal teaser for our listing mastermind. We're gonna have all these masterminds coming up in the new year, which are gonna be relevant to everything you do. So check out the calendar that's gonna be coming up here in the next couple of weeks. You're gonna be able to get online at KWNCW.com. And then go into the agent portal in the back. You'll see the calendar. The calendar is all done, but I'm going to share it with my ALC tomorrow so that we can plug in whatever we need to plug in. So take a look at that. We are excited for the new year. Very excited. We've got a lot of great information. Sydney, I don't know, that was some of the best information that I've heard in a long time. I mean, I pulled a lot from that. I don't know about you guys, but like all these little tidbits that are going to help your business, I think are extraordinarily important. So we are going to be providing that information to you throughout the year. We've got Fletcher Ellington coming in on a monthly basis on Thursdays. We've got Prime Lending coming in on Thursdays as well to give you additional information on scripts and how to talk to people about money. We've got wealth building coming in as well with Prime Lending. We just have a lot on the schedule. It's going to be a very exciting year, very, very exciting year. So having said that, I wish everybody a very Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, whatever you do. We will be back online on January 9th. You'll get some emails from us over the next 2 weeks on schedule and how you can get on to KWNCW and see what the calendar looks like. But we will be interfacing with you with information over the next 2 weeks so that we can guide you on what's happening next. And I just hope you have a safe and wonderful holiday season.
So
Thank
please
you.
read your emails if you get some from me, because there's lots of them.
And Sydney Estella says, great job, love you. I think that
Yeah,
sums
great
up.
job.
Yeah,
Fantastic job.
super great.
Thank you, everyone.
Very much agree.
Have a great season. New Year.
Holidays.
See you next year. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
You good?
See you later.
That is love it. Stay tuned for the 2-hour mastermind. I cannot wait. Cannot wait. Did anybody learn like one little thing? Something you can do?
Force
Yeah.
me to